Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the table. It's me, one of your hosts, Shannon, and I am joined today by my lovely co-host, Katelynn,
Hello again.
and one of our returning guests, Susritha.
Hello, hello.
Woo! Welcome back.
Woohoo!
Thank you, thank you.
We finally have a returning guest that isn't Noah. Oh no, we had Nathan. Oh, you are our
That's
third
true.
returning
We're
guest.
making moves.
Woohoo. There we go. Glad to be here.
Yeah, today's a great week to have Susritha back because we are talking about Mardi Gras because we are recording this right after Mardi Gras actually happened. And the three of us actually celebrated Mardi Gras together for like 9 years.
Yeah.
You sound so sad about that.
It was a time, and it was 9
Was a
years of
time.
our life, and it was, oh
Yeah.
my goodness, was that like more than 9 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, good. Going on 9 years ago since we've been in school together.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a little just like rest in peace to our middle school that is closing this year. You were great. Sorry to hear you're closing. But yeah, so like the way we celebrated Mardi Gras, we all went to a Catholic school, a small little private Catholic school, and it was a very fun day. Because for those who don't know, Mardi Gras means Fat Tuesday, and for those who don't speak French, it's the day before Ash Wednesday, where you celebrate and you eat and be happy before Lent starts, and you begin your sacrifices, your fasting, and things like that. I think most people know it's celebrated mostly in New Orleans. That's like the mecca of Mardi Gras. And yeah, we celebrated it in school. They played music throughout the intercom all day. We got to dress all silly. We got candy and chips like all day. It was a disaster for the teachers, honestly.
It really was, but I mean, it's definitely something I remember, like even going back to like first, like I don't remember what I was doing in kindergarten, but like first grade, second grade, I remember Mardi Gras being a thing, and I think one of the best parts was that they would try to have us learn during the day, and then music would start playing over the intercom at random times, and then we basically had permission to get up and start dancing. So
Yeah.
there was no learning that was happening at all, but it was funny because it's like, oh, we're gonna attempt to learn, and then it definitely wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah, it was a fun day, and I think kind of an organized chaos because they had the same setup to it from year to year. So basically there would be like students going around selling chips, selling candy to other students, and then the music over the intercom, like Susritha and Katelynn were saying. So like you knew what to expect, but then you never knew what the day was going to bring, which I think made it much better, especially when you're in elementary school too. Yeah, kind of wild. I don't know how they managed to get that just in the curriculum, and everyone was like, "Yep,
yeah,
I'm good."
It's
No
definitely one of
problems
those
here.
like private schools can to an extent do whatever they want, and that was our principal, the lovely Sister Priscilla, doing what she wanted, and what she wanted was to party.
It really was, and I forgot about the candy thing.
Yeah.
So the concept was like everyone would be able to like buy candy and food throughout the day, but the people selling it were just older kids. So
Wait, were we
Shannon,
all cookies and candy girls?
I think we were,
All
right?
three of us were. That's right.
Yeah, so that last year was us just, walking around to our designated classrooms every whatever the interval of time was and selling to kids who were probably already really high on sugar, and just giving them more sugar. Fun time.
I totally forgot you were cookies and candy too. Why did I put you? I thought you were on phones, but that was definitely Caitlin St. Louis.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome that it was all three of us. But yeah, we would actually. So the 8th graders would they all had jobs, and you were like a lunch monitor, or you sold the candy or the chips, or something along those lines. You'd like handed out the milk, whatever. And we sold cookies and candy every day. Like, we would grab our tray and we'd go around to a certain, like, section of classrooms, like the three of us plus, who was the fourth? Alexa
Alexa, yeah.
would cover all the classes.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd walk in, you yell, cookies and candy, and then the kids would come
my
up and buy your
God.
candy.
Wow, that brought back
Yeah.
like
I
we
think
were
that's
just talking
exactly
about
how I
it.
used to say it.
No, that's exactly why it brought back memories,
yeah,
like the exact
definitely.
tone. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And like there was
It's
some
so much
classes.
energy you would bring to the classroom shouting that, and then sometimes you would just be met with blank stares because no one wanted to buy it.
Yeah, because I had our grade at some point, I think. I had like our classes. So even like when I want to go into my own class, it was just like, hey, Katelynn.
I had like 4th and 5th grade, so like they didn't really know me, and it was yeah, it was fine. But man, yeah. And you'd have to do math and change and all that stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Everything besides the Twizzlers were like an even
Yeah.
quarter at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had to
Twizzlers
count
were
the
done.
candy on our tray. We had to dump all of our change in like a certain shoebox at the end of it. And it's all cut into our lunchtime, by the way. Because then we had to
Our
run back up
lunchtime
and
was-
start eating our lunch while everyone else was done.
Yeah, our lunchtime was like 20 minutes, and we spent a solid 10 of them selling candy and making sure like the inventory was right or whatever.
Yeah. And we had to pick up our books because our last class before lunch was downstairs and our homeroom was upstairs. And we ate in our homerooms. We didn't have a cafeteria. So we had to drop off our change, grab our books from that classroom, and then bring them back to our classroom, put those away, and then we got to eat. There were a couple of times I shoved like some Oreos in my pocket and ate during recess.
Like, we couldn't make this up if we tried. It's just such a bonkers system.
It's so funny
But we
talking
did
about
it.
it 8 years later and like, wow, this is ridiculous. We could have just had a vending machine.
We really could have. We were portable vending. Like we were walking vending machines.
It's so silly. I wonder if they still do it. Like, I imagine they have to. They had a whole closet full of candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were times when I was like, I feel like as a kid, I never really bought candy, but because I was a cookies and candy girl, I was always tempted. So like, the next day I'd be like, dang it, I wanted something. So then I'd like buy something off of my own tray because like I was just so exposed to it. I was like, I want candy now.
Yeah.
I want it.
I think that year, going full circle, I gave up candy for Lent.
Oh, really?
And that was like the worst year to do it too. Because I think Shannon might remember this, but I gave it up. So I knew I couldn't buy off my tray, which was kind of easy if I just never brought money to school. Because again, we didn't have a cafeteria. There was no need for me to ever bring money to school. But when we had the school dances, there was one time where I was just like chomping on some jelly beans. Because that's like all they had was like junk food. And I went, oh no. And Shannon's like, what? I'm like, I gave up candy for Lent and I'm eating jelly beans. She was laughing at me. Because we're in a church.
I do remember that.
In a church, in the church basement. And I'm like, oh my God, I've broken my sacrifice already. And it was like maybe 2 weeks in.
Oh no.
Yeah. I felt so bad. You were so stressed about it. And I'm like, it's really fine. Like,
Yeah.
I
And like,
think it was an honest mistake.
yeah, I was just so determined to like not fail that year. And like, you know, I'm not a crazy hyper religious person. I just like to participate where I can. And this is a place where I could participate. I gave up fast food this year. I usually give up junk food because it's the easiest thing that like also benefits me in more ways than one. But I was like, I'm so determined to do it this year. And there were so many times where I didn't eat my like Easter candy, or not Easter candy, but like my Valentine's candy or anything like that. And I just, without thinking, had jelly beans. And I was so mad that I didn't even think of it.
Well, given that the food that was given to us during those events was limited to very, very junk food,
Yeah.
I feel like it makes sense that was your only option. The jelly beans were probably your only option. I don't think there would have been anything better otherwise.
Yeah, maybe pretzels, and I didn't even like pretzels.
There you go. So I mean, you stopped once you figured it out. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God's
Yeah.
pretty chill.
that's
Thanks,
the
God.
key. While we're on the subject of morals, were you guys ever tempted when we were in that closet
Yes.
of candy doing
Yes.
inventory and
Yes.
everything?
Yes.
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 Did you ever steal?
No.
I
Wait.
don't know. I feel like I
Yes.
probably did. I feel like I probably did, and I don't remember.
I think I took one of those 50-cent brownies. I think that's the only time I ever took it.
I did like Twizzlers, so I'm sure I took Twizzlers. Because they were only a dime, and so I
Yeah.
probably justified it in my head.
Honestly,
All right, we got him, boys.
lock him up in Sister Priscilla's office.
No, I think I definitely thought about it so many times. So I was like, who counts this? And I feel like I maybe with Susritha with the Twizzlers, because those were kind of hard to keep track of anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, because I was just that person that was just like, I got you can tell with the jelly beans, like I probably got guilty and ended up like shoving 50 cents in on another day. I bet you that's what I did.
No, that makes sense.
There's no way. Because I think I did, but I like undid it or thought I did or whatever. But then like the count didn't match the money, so like it's probably still looked bad because they counted what was left on your tray.
Yeah, and then you'd have to refill your tray.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I was just wondering what their accounting system was for keeping track of this. And I was like, oh yeah, they did actually check it pretty frequently.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
every tray had a designated number of each thing. So it was like 4 of these bars, 2 of that, like 10 Twizzlers. It was like very specific. And so whenever you sold stuff, you'd also have to. Were we the ones? I feel like sometimes I ended up doing it. I forget if we always did it or if someone else came in afterwards.
I
But, like,
remember filling it, but we filled it before we went. Like,
Right,
you filled it
right.
first, then went, and then you left the tray incomplete after.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there was a designated count.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I took that brownie from the closet the day that I think I took it. So it wasn't like my tray wasn't off, but when I added the 50 cents on another day, if I did, which I assume that I did do, I would have ruined my count. So it probably didn't help me at all. But it didn't matter. I think if you were off by like more than $1 or $2, they might like start looking out to make sure you're counting right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you're off by a little bit, they didn't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do wonder if anyone in the history of people doing that job was like so bad at it, either genuinely bad at math or like genuinely like just wanted to steal all the candy and did. Like, because it's not like we applied for that job. We were
No, you get
like
assigned.
chosen, I guess, assigned to it.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I don't know if they assigned us because we were generally responsible and the teachers knew that, or I don't know.
I don't know
I'm
what their
curious,
system
like, what
was.
happened.
But I do remember. Go ahead.
Okay, I think I'm gonna say what you're gonna say. I remember they picked people who were in the accelerated English because we were in that room to start.
Yeah, we were closer to the closet with all the candy.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Did they do that for the chips guys?
Not all of them, I don't think.
Yeah.
I feel like 2 of them might have been in that class and the other 2 came from upstairs. But also
it was... Go ahead,
sorry. The chips, or where were the chips? The chips were on the other side, right?
Were they in the green hallway, maybe?
Oh, you're right. Yes. Yeah, they were.
I think
they were
their
different from the
closet
candy.
was near the like main office.
The front office, yeah.
Yeah, because it was Liam, Devin. Was it James? James, yeah, because he had the deep voice. And I don't remember the fourth.
Was it Max?
Oh, it definitely was Max.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I can't believe I'm remembering.
Oh.
Like, to the extent that I am remembering. It's been so long.
Man. But yeah, I do remember we also were trained for these positions. So when we were in 7th grade, we were selected and we were then given like back, and you would like shadow the person or like they would teach you the ropes of it, and then you were their backup. So if that eighth grader was absent that day, you as the seventh grader would be pulled up and be like, "Hey, make sure you do their job because they're not here."
That's right.
It's a complex system.
That
It was
unlocked a memory in me. I forgot it was set up like that.
I did too.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
shout out
so
Brianna if I'm
seventh
right.
grade we knew how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're so
So
right.
it was such a complex system to sell cookies and candy.
yeah, and it hella worked. Like, yes, it worked.
It was like a tried and true system.
Yeah, because they had done that every year that we had been there. Chips and
Yeah.
candy were a thing.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
funny that we called it cookies and candy also when only one of the options on the tray was a cookie and it was terrible anyway.
Yeah, it was just like packed, like the pre-packed cookies, and like it was the
They were
same
so
company that did
gross.
brownies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They sell them
They-
at Market Basket.
they do. Every time I walk by Market Basket, I have a flashback.
Yeah,
Cookies and candy.
that
Oh my
specific
goodness.
tone.
Yeah. I don't, because it's funny, we could have said it any way we wanted, really. But, like, obviously that's the most
Girl
logic way to say
train.
it. But every cookies and candy girl that we ever had said it like that. So I knew exactly how to do it by the time I got to 7th grade. And everyone just replicated the girl's voice before. Because cookies and candy was always girls and chips was always guys, which I don't get because the chips box was lighter anyway. But
That's true. Yeah, that was such a good point.
do you remember
was
when I
so
ate it
good.
and I dropped my whole tray?
I don't remember that.
I
I
don't
fell
remember
up the
that.
stairs. I face planted at the top.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh,
It
but
was
there's gotta
so
be
funny.
there has to be so many times that we all like almost tripped or dropped some of it because it was literally one of those like lunch trays
Yeah.
filled with candy, and there was a lot of candy. It was
Yeah.
filled.
I remember, like, it's all, like, loose. There were, like, 2 of each, like, of, like, 5 different candy bars on one side. And then there was, like, a plastic container that's probably been there since, like, 1992 that had the prices taped to the back, but that's the little container that the brownies and cookies sat in.
Yes.
And then the
Yeah.
Twizzlers were just loose amongst the middle, and
Yep.
the Charleston chews went along the bottom. So I could still
The
probably I
Charleston-
could remake that tray even now. But it's
Yeah.
it's slippery. It didn't really have edges. It kind of like
Yeah.
it didn't have like a lip. It kind of like just curved up a little bit at the sides. So it was very easy to like take a corner too fast and your candy goes flying.
Ah.
Yeah.
And like
It
you
was
have to open the
definitely-
doors. So the
Oh
school had
yeah.
3 doors in between like the hallways. So you'd have to like open doors or hope one of the chips guys was ahead of you so they could like hold a door for you. Because
Yeah.
it was hard to juggle them.
Because their chips were all in a giant cardboard box. This
Yeah.
thing weighed nothing and nothing ever fell out because it was a box. Oh man.
Yeah, some of them would lug it around with like one. I do remember.
Yeah. Those
Yeah.
doors, now that I think about it, are so funny because they had giant like fire doors
Yeah.
at the top and bottom of each set of stairs, and there were 2 in each hallway. It was just a
Yep.
one hallway, 2-floored building. And they were big, heavy doors. And like I don't know if they were like maybe for evacuation purposes or safety purposes. I don't even know because like the school was made of concrete. Nothing in that school was going to catch fire. But like or maybe the coat closets, I don't know. But they were so obnoxious, and like I was on the side when I had the full tray that I had to grab the handle. It wasn't like the push
Yeah.
side,
hmm
and you had to pull it and flick it out and then run in before the door shut.
Why do I know that exact maneuver? Like I vividly remember doing that exact maneuver.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You know, sometimes I still have to do that in my life if I'm like carrying stuff in the house or things. That
Mhm.
must have been where I picked up that skill. Because I'm pretty good
Yeah.
at it. I'm not gonna
So
lie.
that's why they
My
had us
storm
become
door.
cookies and candy girls, so that we could learn the art of opening doors with a little flick and then running through.
Exactly. Opening doors, doing mental math, getting rejected when no one wanted anything. Like, let's put it on my resume, guys.
Yeah, it really did teach us to handle rejection real fast. I mean, it didn't really
really
matter, I guess, because like it wasn't we weren't selling anything. We didn't even benefit from selling anything.
Yeah, there was no commission.
No, there is. I mean, even like the Mayfair or whatever. Like when you're in
Yeah.
8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, you have to work the Mayfair.
The
And
Mayfair.
literally, the principal, God bless that woman, but she would come down to the class 2 days before the Mayfair, and she'd be like, all right, you guys are going to host the Mayfair. We're going to give you your jobs. We're going to teach you how to do your jobs. You just like ran the games. It was a carnival is what it was. And she's like, I'm going to tell everybody that the goal is to have fun, but I'm going to lie. The goal is to make money. Say it with me. The goal is to make money. And I never forgot that.
And she used to walk around with a bucket, and we'd have to dump our coins because it was so the were like 25 cents like for one skee ball, whatever, you know, like something like that.
Yeah.
So like kids were giving you like quarters or like at most dollars. And she would walk around with this bucket, and you'd have to like dump all your change in, and it's just a large bucket full of coins that she was walking around with.
They made crazy money that day, though. If you were like on the end of her run, because I did like the indoor like fishing thing once.
Oh yeah.
And I was one of her last on her path for that. That bucket was full. Like she wasn't even carrying it by the end. Mrs. Saba was carrying it by that point.
Okay, that was my question. I was like, how was she carrying it?
I think Miss Saba was helping her out.
Oh, wow.
But I want to make an effort to hit up the Mayfair this year if I can. I don't know if I'll be able to, but since it's going to be the last Mayfair, I would like to go. I might have to take a half day to do it, though.
Oh, that's such a good point. Yeah, maybe I'll take off. I'll tell my office I need to work from home for no reason.
There you go.
Yeah. Be like, sorry, y'all.
Because it closes at 4, which is the problem. And I get out of work at 4:30, so I have to like maybe I'll leave at lunch.
Yeah, take a long lunch break and yeah.
Yeah.
Sad.
Go to the Mayfair.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can miss. I mean, I live a block away from that school. I have to. I'm still right there. I walk by it whenever I go for a walk.
Oh man.
Did you see the park they had?
I heard about it. I did not see it.
So they built a little playground in there, and they just finished it this year, which is just, like sort of a bummer because of how it timed with like the school closing.
Yeah.
But it is the in dedication to Christian Galtieri.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah. He was a student there his mom was a teacher there, and we were in her class. And there was an accident during Halloween, and he was killed. And they dedicated that park to him, which is cool. And they had like a memorial for him in the school ever since, I believe. But yeah, it's cool that he like got his name to be a part of the school at least right until the end.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's right. Well, I hope we can still repurpose that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't know if another school is moving in that building or if they plan to tear it down even. I don't know. But hopefully that can stay there.
Yeah, there are a couple semi-abandoned school buildings around my area. Like even like the little building behind St. Marguerite's is like semi-abandoned. Like it's in use, but it's not a fully functioning school. I'm hoping it becomes like some sort of like learning thing or like a pre-K or like a daycare thing. I hope it stays somewhat functional. I'd hate to see that like building go to ruin, you know?
Yeah.
But even though it's a rather ugly building.
It's just a rectangle.
Yeah, it's one hallway. Looks like a hospital inside.
It's actually kind of terrifying if you think about it.
Can you imagine that building at night with no one in it?
I really don't want to imagine that.
Yeah. Nope.
It's right out of a horror film.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
But a lot of good memories there still. And like it was a strict school. It certainly was not an easy one. Not like specifically to toot any of our horns, but like it was up there. They were strict, but they always knew like when to, you know, break it and have some fun with things like Mardi Gras or with Catholic Schools Week, which is like Spirit Week. Like pajama day and stuff and using like casual days, which is really fun. And I know it sounds silly to all y'all who didn't have uniforms, but casual days were a freaking treat.
I explained that to my coworkers recently over lunch, and I was like, yeah, so like we had casual days, and like, I was explaining that, you know, I grew up on uniforms, so when like I love to get dressed for work, and they were like, "Oh, that's interesting," and I was like, "Yeah, we even had to pay for casual days," and just the absolute like shock and confusion that crossed all of their faces. They're like, "Wait, they exploited you for wearing normal clothes?" And I
Wait,
was like,
when did we pay for
"Sometimes,
casual days?
sometimes we paid for them. It was like
Sometimes
$1."
we pay for it. I think it would be
Yeah,
like a fundraiser type thing.
a fun. Yeah,
Oh,
then I
oh,
explained that.
fundraisers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I explained that, and I was like, "Well, they weren't always like that, and some they were mostly fundraisers if they were ever like paid for." And but still the concept of that just boggled people's minds.
Yeah. That's such a low effort fundraiser to do,
Yeah.
and yet it's so effective because you
Yeah.
know they
Yeah.
all just want to not be in their uniform.
Mhm.
They're like, awesome, let's charge the kids.
Yeah. Or honestly, their parents. Let's get their parents to pledge them money so they can wear jeans.
Yeah.
Also,
Wild.
none of y'all are going to listen to me, and my opinion doesn't matter. But to all of those who are thinking of coming up with a uniform for their school, polo and slacks. That's it. Polo and slacks. Get out of here with the button-up shirts, with the ties, with the skirts, with the dress pants, with the dress shoes. No one needs that. Polo shirt and slacks, please. I cannot believe how complicated our uniforms were. And we were like 9.
Yeah, our grade school was like we had one uniform until 4th grade, was it? And then we had a different.
Yeah.
It was like a
It changed
junior high
color.
version. Yeah, it changed color, but also like it went from a jumper to
Oh,
a
that's right,
skirt
to the
and a vest.
skirt and the vest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the
So
vest. Ugh.
the vest was so ugly.
So hot, too.
Yeah.
Itchy. Man.
You gotta wonder where the origin of that came from, though. Because even when you see like boarding schools or private schools in media, they also have a
Yeah.
similar like
The knee-high
uniform
socks,
to
the like
them.
Mary Jane shoes, the plaid
Yeah.
skirt.
Like there's gotta be a reason they're all like that.
Yeah.
And they were so strict about it. God forbid, like my brother had the wrong shoes once. They sent him home. Boys' hair couldn't touch their
Crazy.
collar of their shirt. We needed to have like a Peter Pan collar, which is like the round collar until a certain grade, and then we had to switch it to a pointed one.
Yeah.
We
Wow, that
couldn't
was
wear
so nitpicky. And
yeah, we couldn't wear jewelry outside of like a very simple ring, a religious piece, or a watch.
Wait, really? I did not realize. I didn't wear jewelry at that time, but like
Yeah,
did
you
not
couldn't
realize.
have your nails painted.
Oh, that one I remember.
Yeah.
you also have such great memory. I'm always fascinated, Caitlin, when we do these podcasts and you
Yeah.
talk about these things. I'm like, oh my god, you're just like I forgot all these things happened, but they sure did.
Yeah,
They
like once you
Thank
say
probably
it,
you.
it
made me
triggers
the
a
way I
memory.
am now, but I didn't even realize, you know?
I remember the most unimportant things. Because if you ask me something important, I won't have remembered it. But for some reason, I remembered our dress code. But thanks. That's the first time my memory's been complimented. But yeah, it's just unreasonably strict. It didn't teach me anything about like dressing proper. I get if you want all your kids to match and you want them to have a uniform, because there is a benefit to uniforms. You know, you take away the drama of coming up with outfits, of buying different clothes.
Yeah.
There's a benefit to it, but just keep it simple. You know, a polo shirt is fine. None of these button-up shirts, and like slacks. And if you want to have a skirt option, like fine. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy to me.
Our high school, Shannon and I's high school, was the polo and slacks or polo and skirt.
Mhm.
And then the polos had like a few color options, and then there was like short sleeves and long sleeves. And I felt like I had a good enough range. I could like change up the color of the polo and felt like I was wearing something different. But I only
Mhm.
had so many polos. So like, it was still a uniform to that extent. So yeah, our grade school had a lot more complex of a uniform, and I think, yeah, didn't feel necessary.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like the high school version definitely more. I will
Mhm.
say though, I wanted so badly to be a slack wearing gal. And they just were not designed for female bodies. From the
Yeah.
company that we had to
they
buy it
never are.
from, it was just so uncomfortable. It did not fit like anywhere in the right places. So I ended up wearing the skirt pretty much all the time. I
Mhm.
was sad about it.
God bless my high school. public high. I got to wear whatever the hell I wanted. I wore yoga pants and hoodies damn near every day. It was great. But I think there truly is a benefit to uniforms, especially for like elementary and middle school, because like
Yeah.
there is like an issue with like fashion to an extent. Like kids make fun of each other, you know, like don't take the drama out of it and just make them all wear the same thing. But God bless our parents who got a freaking 7-year-old to wear a button-up shirt and a tie every single day.
My brother hated button-up shirts, and
Mhm.
we would try, like, we'd go out to, like, some, like, you know, event, like, not at school, some other event, and we'd try to get him to dress up, like, nice. Like, you know, it's like he's got to wear a tie, and he would refuse because he'd basically used up his quota of, like, button-up shirts during the
Yeah.
school week. So he just refused to wear it otherwise, and it was so interesting that he just wouldn't wear them. It was just a lot for a kid.
Yeah. And we like had a polo shirt because
We
we
did.
had a gym day.
Our gym shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. We had one day of the week where we had gym class and we had sweatpants and a polo shirt.
Yo,
And
those
that's
sweatpants
a
comfortable.
terrible combo, first of all. But like the sweatpants also had like they were like jogger sweatpants, so they had like elastic at the bottom, and they just were so unflattering. But
They
like
were
at that time I
unflattering,
didn't care.
but
But
very comfortable. Like,
yes,
it wasn't a skirt, you know?
yeah, very much comfortable. But like with a polo, like give us a freaking t-shirt. T-shirts are great.
The look was not it, but
No, put the polo shirt on the formal days, and on the gym day, give us a t-shirt because like it's like a polo, and it was a rough polo. So like if you were hot and sweaty, like you were getting rashed. Like, and like
Yeah.
if you wanted to wear an undershirt, fine. And at some point, like the girls obviously had like bras, which helped like in like sensitive areas of like being rubbed on when you're hot. But to have to wear another shirt underneath it to prevent like you getting like rash, you're hotter now. You know, you're wearing 2 shirts. Because we were outside almost every day for gym. And like in the beginning of the year and the end of the year, it was very, very hot. The end of the year more so. And thankfully every now and then they let us like, they're like, oh, it's hot. Y'all can take your ties off. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to give y'all freezer
I'm
pops.
sure.
You can take your tie off during finals week while everyone's dying.
How was that the solution? Our
Yeah.
tie.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was
yeah,
not the
this-
solution, but I will say I miss the days when, you know, you're boiling hot. You're like, man, I don't want to be in school right now. And then some faculty member rolls up with hood cups or freezer pops. And then
Yeah.
you're like, my day suddenly got so much better.
I mean, we had a really low standard for what a good day was, but
We
it was,
Mhm.
but you know, those treats did make the difference.
The little
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
I loved like going because I did like after school care for a little bit just because I was picked up like maybe 20 minutes after the end of the school day, but it was just like we had a little snack and then I got picked up, but they let us untuck our shirts so we get and the feeling of pulling that shirt out of your skirt after all day was such a good feeling. It's like, sorry male listeners, it's like taking your bra off at the end of a long day. It's a great feeling.
Yeah.
But just pulling the shirt tails out felt so good. And then I would change as soon as I came home because I hated it so much. The amount of times I lost my goddamn tie also. Couldn't find my tie. It was like 7 a.m. School starts at 7:30. I'm like, I can't find it. You would get in trouble if you didn't have it.
Yeah.
Sucked. But yeah.
Wow. What's this podcast about again? Food?
Yeah. We went on a whole journey.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
I
man.
could like easily like retitle it, but the background picture I chose for today is Mardi Gras beads. So I really can't change that.
No, it's all good. I mean, that is where we started, and
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it was
that's true.
a natural tangent, especially for the 3 of us too, because I
Yeah.
think we spent the
Mhm.
most time together in that space. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fun to revisit it. I hope it's fun to listen to too, because I think it's such a different experience in those grades than a lot of people had. So I think it's kind of fun to
Yeah.
listen to, but
Yeah, it is kind of cool now looking back, like how unique our experience was in a lot of ways. And like a lot of people are like, oh, you went to a Catholic school, and there's a lot of like connotations that come with that. But like our experience was unique, completely separate from the religion part.
Yeah.
Yeah, my family didn't even really pick that school for the Catholic part of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
mom went there, right?
Yeah, so my mom had gone there and like all of her siblings, just because it was in the neighborhood. She grew up right around there, so it was sort of the thing. Like everyone on her street went there. And then we were originally just supposed to go to the public system in my hometown, and then my brother was just like so bonkers smart. So he was like kind of bored in the public system, and then other private institutions were just way too expensive for the grade level that he was at. And then my mom just sort of sighed and was like, "Well, I do know a place that would challenge him for sure, but it's where I went to school." And so he ended up back there, but it worked out, I think.
Yeah. And now we met each other, and that's awesome. So
Yeah.
because Craig is bonkers smart, I made my best friend.
There we go.
And a
Do you
lot
guys
of
remember
friends.
why your families sent you there?
It was close.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's really it. It was close. They were cool with the private system, and that was down the road.
Yeah, my family wasn't a fan of the public system in my hometown. And they actually looked at a different one that's in my hometown, but I got like it's 2 minutes from my house, but I got waitlisted there just because of like the amount of kids that they had where they were at capacity, and I just got off the wait list at the school that we all went to first, capacity wise. So that's where I ended up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can thank the other school for filling up too fast.
I
That's
know,
crazy.
because of a wait list. We may not have
Yeah.
met you.
Isn't that
Yeah,
crazy
I mean-
how things work out?
Yeah.
And like obviously it's like, well, yeah, of course it worked out because it did. Like it's just the way it happened. So yeah, I get it. But like even like Noah, for example, like he's from like the Boston area. They happened to move to my town because his grandfather just happened to work around here. And had they moved literally anywhere else, I would have never met him. And now we've been together 7.5 years, which is insane. Like that, it just by it happening that he went there, and I almost didn't go to the Voc. I almost went to your high school.
Oh wait, really?
Yeah, it was between the Voc and Low Catholic, and I got a scholarship to Low Catholic, and I was really close to going there. But I wanted to go to a technical school because my mom had gone there, and like the shops were very enticing to me. And I'll be honest, I think every high school should be a technical high school at this point. Just my opinion. And I was waiting for the Voc to give me my acceptance, and I waited so long that my scholarship ran out. So if I didn't get accepted to the Voc, because I thought it was a lottery thing, so I was kind of nervous about it. It wasn't a lottery thing. I was like already in, but I thought it was a lottery. And if I didn't get in there, I had already lost my scholarship. I was going to have to go to the regular public high school in my town, which is a notoriously bad one. So I was like kind of nervous, but then I got into the Voc and it was just fine. And I went to there. I actually went there. This is going to be a fun tangent. I went to the Voc with the intention of going into culinary and to cook.
Right, I did remember.
And I did all the shops. I met Noah in culinary. We were on the same team. We made terrible biscuits that day. Or like I met him. I had a class with him, but first time I really talked to him was in that shop because they let you try out a few before you choose. And the day of shop selection, the day I had to choose my shop, I changed my mind and I picked design. And now I'm a designer who does nothing but make projects about food. So you know what? Nothing has changed.
There you go.
Simmer is a product of that decision in every single way, and I don't regret it at all. But throughout high school and college, I did a lot of food-related projects, and I didn't realize I was doing that. And then I got to my senior project, picked another food one, and then I put all my projects together, and I was like, I did like 6 food projects. And I cook all the time. I cook for my coworkers. I bake for them. I wrote a cookbook, you know, so I guess nothing has really changed. I just got a formal education in something else.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same
Yeah.
passion, but just using different mediums to
Yeah.
express
Yeah.
it, which is really interesting.
I wanted to go into baking and like decorating like wedding cakes and stuff, and I don't regret not choosing that at all because I'm really not that great at baking and decorating. And that's a mess. I'm not good at messes. I get very distracted when I'm messy. So
Fair, but I have always wanted to take a cake decorating class just for the heck of it, you know? I feel like that's one of those
Totally.
like I want to experience that once. It seems like it could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Shannon, ask your mom. Will she put on a class for us?
I was just about to say, honestly, it's like, come over to my house. Yeah, so I forget if I've told you this before, Susritha, but my mom used to like be a cake decorator. She worked at Shaw's and Carvel, and like had her own kind of business. She ran out of her house for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's got the skills. It's such a hard art to master.
Oh, I
And
imagine.
I like know the basics from her. But yeah, it's so fun too at the same time. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
she's
come
so
on down.
cool.
We'll have a little cake party or something.
Oh my
We
God, a cake
should.
party. I
Because
love
Shannon and I
that.
have done cake parties before, and they're so much fun. We gotta do with more than just the two of us.
It's been a long time since we did
Hmm.
one.
Oh
Your
well.
your mom's gonna be so excited. She's like, I'll make all the frosting. Her frosting is incredible. Also, she makes a great frosting.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
plans. I swear, every single podcast episode, Shannon and I make hypothetical plans.
Really calling us out for not executing any.
We've seen each other in person exactly twice since the podcast started, and we live 15 minutes away from each other.
Yep.
It's so terrible, but like I don't say it as like a bad thing either. Like we're definitely like always talking, and we're always talking to you as well. I talk to you on Instagram all the time.
Yeah.
And like I think that like that's totally fine in lieu of like always being in person with somebody, because like that's exhausting sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
And we all have our own friend groups too, so
Yeah.
Shannon's friend group is rad. I actually, for the podcast, I actually got to meet Peter. Oh my god, I forgot their names. Oh no.
This is a test.
Peter, Greg, and Lauren.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think you also saw Beck and Jackie too.
Yes, that's right.
They haven't been on the podcast, so I don't know why I'm mentioning them.
I could tell you what podcast they were in, but I just forgot their names. See, this is where my memory fails. I love them all. They're all so lovely. I'm sorry I forgot your names. Please don't listen to this episode. I only remembered Peter's name. Well, I got there eventually, but so I actually finally got to meet these people in person, which is very fun. So hopefully at some point we'll all have met each other. Maybe we just gotta have a party. Maybe we'll just plan a party with everybody.
A podcast party.
Podcast party.
Wait, I love that.
That would be really fun. My friends would not show up for that.
He's fine.
Cassidy would be in, but Cassidy hasn't even been on it. But Nathan has. Nathan is her boyfriend. I don't know if they would come.
It's okay. The podcast party can just be the three of us.
Hell yeah.
That's true.
Susritha just out of nowhere becomes a third host. Like, she just doesn't go away. She just shows up every week. It'd be awesome.
Come on down.
Yeah.
Literally anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can have another backup like Noah is. Noah's always on standby whenever we don't have a guest.
Yeah.
But, all right. Oh my god, we've been recording for 44 minutes. I'm going to recite some information about Mardi Gras. So sorry.
Sorry, the transition is laughable.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But yeah, so we picked Mardi Gras obviously because it just happened at the time of recording this. But I found like a little bit like different dishes that are made around Mardi Gras, which is pretty cool. And I just lost my link. Shannon, did you have the King's Bread info, or do you want me to do that?
I have that one, yeah.
Yeah, because that's the biggest one. So if you want to start with that while I find the other thing that I think I accidentally closed,
Yeah,
we can go from there.
all good. So yeah, King's cake. I think it's a cake, sometimes it's bread. Um, but yeah, so that's one of the main foods of Mardi Gras, and it dates way back to 12th century France, and then it made its way to New Orleans in the 1870s. So long history there. But basically, it's kind of doughy and very sweet. It's got cinnamon sugar on top, and it often contains purple, green, and gold, which are the colors of Mardi Gras and the colors of our logos here today, because we love being on theme. Um, so the purple is justice, green is for faith, and then gold represents power. And I think the biggest thing with the king's cake is that sometimes there is a bead or even sometimes a little plastic baby placed on the inside of the cake, which represents baby Jesus. Because once again, it's a pretty Christian holiday celebrated right before Lent happens. So it's sort of like whoever has to wait. No, I read that wrong. So the
Whoever finds it, right?
whoever finds it has to
Yeah.
bake the next cake. Is the reward for finding it,
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like a reward.
right?
It's not. Yeah.
It feels like a more work.
Yeah, you think it would be like prosperity for all your
Yeah.
days, and it's like actually, next one's on you.
There was a TikTok I saw recently of a family that had that tradition, but they had a second, like they had two things hidden in the cake.
Oh.
And one was to bake the next cake, and the other one was the person who had to host the party next. And the same
God.
person got both. She was
No.
so mad.
Oh no.
Because they just put it in the bread and they braid it. It's like a braided, or like some people have made like a monkey bread style since. And you just like pick a piece, you pull a piece off, and it's just in there randomly. So even the person who baked it doesn't necessarily know where it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's like I think it's usually like in like a crown shape. So like it's less easy to like tell where it was if you like spun it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of like interesting. That's the most like that's like a traditional food. There's a couple like more untraditional, just like foods that are popular around the time. And I was interested because I saw like hush puppies, which I didn't even know were like related in any way, and apparently they are. They're a popular food in like New Orleans and stuff like that. And I've never had one. Have either of you ever had a hush puppy?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like a cornbread donut. It's like a cornmeal batter and it's fried. So it's like a savory donut.
No.
Oh,
And they look amazing. But I've never had one, and I've seen it like I watch like cooking shows all the time because of course I do. But like like the amount of times I've seen Guy Fieri eat a hush puppy, and I'm like, that looks amazing, and I've never had a hush puppy.
I've never heard of this either, though. That's so interesting.
Yeah,
I've heard
and
the
then,
name before. I just never knew what it was. Oh, these look delightful.
right? And then there's like the sweet option, which is like the beignets, which oh my god, beignets are to die for. And I think we mentioned them in the most recent podcast when we were talking about the Princess and the Frog beignets. And they're like fried pastries. They're very, very light, and they're dusted with powdered sugar, and they're very good. But yeah, oh, such a decadent holiday, truly. A lot of seafood as well, which is definitely a staple of New Orleans as well. A lot of like shrimp dishes and gumbo and stuff like that. Jambalaya is another one. There's another one I saw that I was going to point out. Oh, bread pudding. Oh, I had that for the first time last weekend, and it was kind of gross.
We just made bread pudding like this afternoon.
Really?
but like
Wow.
a fake bread pudding. So the problem is we don't follow recipes, and that's not like it's not. So I don't know if it's actually bread pudding or not, but the way we went about doing it was, have either of you ever had the King's Hawaiian sweet rolls?
Yes. Best
They're
sweet
Okay.
rolls.
They're so good. I could just eat all day. But we took that and we put it at the bottom of little ramekins, and then we just poured like regular custard over it, and then we stuck the ramekins in the air fryer. So not really bread pudding, but kind of bread pudding.
It
And
sounds
that's what
pretty
we're
rad,
calling it.
though.
Yeah, it was really good. It was just sweet, and that was kind of it. And it was good. Yeah.
That sounds really good.
Try it. What kind of pudding?
Okay, do you know like the little Jello packets of like vanilla pudding mix?
Yep.
That.
Nice.
Oh, you
A
kept it
good
nice
choice.
and simple.
Yeah, so actually my mom makes a different dessert. Like, she either makes like chocolate eclair squares or what's the other one? It's called like a chessman cookie dessert, but basically the base of both of those is that pudding. And then you
Hmm.
layer different things in it. And it's like a dessert that you would make in a tray. A dessert that you make in a tray. So, she was making that for something else and she had extra and she was like, well, do y'all want it? And we were like, why would we say no? And so that's what came out of it. Yeah.
Nice. I
That
love when
sounds
that
pretty
works
good.
out. When you just
Yeah.
you just keep it simple and then it's just
Yeah.
works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one I had was from like a chain restaurant, but we were in New York and I had it. And it wasn't too bad, but I think the texture of just like wet bread is not something that sits with me.
That's fair. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. That conversation crashed.
Sorry. I was trying
No,
to
it's
think of
okay.
a segue and I
I couldn't think of one either. But I just clicked. Did I? Okay. I stopped the recording, but I didn't.
Not again.
There's something known as a Fat Tuesday donut.
Oh.
Um,
What's in it?
I will read directly from this website, and I'm reading from delish.com. Fat Tuesday donuts, otherwise known as Polish Packzi, Packzi, were traditionally made directly prior to Lent to use up all the forbidden ingredients that wouldn't be able to be eaten during Lent. It's a celebration of everything sweet, so go wild with the sugary topping. It's like a jelly-filled sugar donut, which sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool holiday, like logic wise, I guess. When you think is like Lent is a time of like you sacrifice something and you fast usually, and then like you don't eat meat on Fridays, which I know Susritha is very good at.
Yeah.
And to have like a day of celebration right before that time to enjoy all the good things from like the last year, and then to go into that is pretty cool. And then the celebration picks right back up again with Holy Week and Easter. Yeah. Now I want a donut.
No, your description of this donut made me think of the saying everything but it's everything but the kitchen sink, right?
Looks like it.
But in my head, for the longest time, I used to say everything under the kitchen sink.
Me too.
I was telling my
That's what I thought
coworkers
it was.
this. Like the things under your kitchen sink are not things you'd want to put in some, like they're usually not edible and they're usually chemicals. Or like they're just not things you'd want to put into food. So I said it once and they stopped me and they were like, hold on. Back up here. But
I've also
sorry,
had
you guys
this.
cut out for a sec. I do not know what we're talking about.
Oh, that's okay. Actually, we'll fill you in. The phrase is everything blank the kitchen sink. What do you fill the blank in with?
Everything but the kitchen sink?
Okay.
That
To
is
get-
correct.
Yeah, that's correct. Because Susritha was saying she thought it was everything under the kitchen sink.
Mm.
And I
Very
say
different.
I say everything but I think I've heard people say everything plus the kitchen sink too.
Oh, that's sure.
I think
Yeah.
I've
Why don't you
also
throw it
heard
in there?
I
Yeah.
mean, even if, regardless, any preposition, you're putting things in there that should not go in there.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe leave the kitchen sink where it is and everything under it.
Yep.
Yeah. Wait, this is a full digression, but since we've been talking about grade school, do either of you remember that we had to memorize all the prepositions? Amongst other things, we had to memorize. But I specifically remember that we had to remember the prepositions, and I had a song or some kind of like rhythm to it, and I don't
Yeah.
remember it now, but I just have to bring it up.
Shannon, you're gonna laugh because you mentioned my memory earlier. I remember most of them.
Of course.
Aboard, about, above, across, after a bit, along,
Yes.
amongst, around, as, at, before, behind, below, beneath, beside, between, beyond, by, down, during, for, from, except, in, into, and that's where I end.
Yeah, but that beginning,
That's
that's kind of like sing-songy. Yeah.
It is. It's very sing-songy. I always remember the A's and the B's very quickly.
Yes, I agree as well. That was great. Thank you. Round of applause for that one.
I can't believe it. I was prepared to like stop at the B's and I kept going.
It just came out of you. I love
Yeah,
it.
because we had it all listed out in alphabetical order, and we had to. It basically was a test where like you like started at like say 50 points, and everyone that you forgot you lost a point, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So like you could get through, and then there were chunks that I could remember, like with, within, without. Like I always remembered. But yeah, I was like, I don't know if you guys were in this class, if it was something that you guys were in the 9th grade class for, but we drew a box on the board, and everyone got to go up to the board and write a preposition in regards to that box. Like in was in the box, over the box.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I remember that.
I don't. I also have a terrible memory, so Shannon, this probably happened and I just forgot.
I can't remember what grade it was in.
Okay.
Like if it was in like 7th or 8th, but like both of those grades, you guys would have been in a different English class than me. So probably maybe 7th I had Miss Fitzgerald. Did she do that? I think it was
I could also be making up the memory as well, because it's like, I don't want to say it's a common activity, but it's like easy enough to imagine that I'm like, yeah, I totally did that. And
it's a great way to teach prepositions.
Yeah.
It was I think it might have been Mrs. O'Malley, which would make sense because I think Shannon was in that class with me. Because that was 6th grade. No? Is that?
No, in 6th grade. I was, Mrs. O'Malley's class, yeah.
Yeah.
We were in 6th.
Wait, no, that was the.
I think that was
in Mrs. O'Malley's math.
Oh yeah, Miss O'Malley was 7th. Yeah, and I was in her math as well because she tutored me for math, and she was very kindly like, "You don't really need tutoring. You just need to pay attention." Because we thought I wasn't getting it, and the answer was
honest feedback.
Yeah, she was so nice. It was not that I wasn't getting it. It was like I would like miss numbers. It was like simple mistakes kind of thing. Which is why it was so funny that she's like, you know how to do this. You just gotta stop forgetting your negative signs or like doing like the basic math wrong.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, I took college level like chemistry and was fully making those kind of mistakes in full exams, like getting all the hard parts right and then screwing up like 2. So yeah.
It was kind of
happens to the
full
best
circle to where I went into like art school for college, and Noah because he went to college for 1 year, and he was going for engineering, and he was in like a chemistry class, and I would sit with him in the Dunkins and help him do it. And it wasn't, neither of us is better than math as the other. We just needed like 2 sets of eyes to keep track of everything. So that's what I was helping him do. It wasn't that I understood it any better than he did. But I remember sitting in that Dunkin's and doing the math like alongside him. And it was kind of fun, like doing it without the stress of like the grade wasn't mine, but I was able to help him.
That makes sense, yeah.
But
I had a friend freshman year who was also like in what was it, physics classes or like calculus or something, and his teacher would record lectures and they would have to like watch them to learn the material, and he really didn't want to do it, so I just got super excited whenever a new like episode would come out and I would watch it with him. Just like, yeah, it's awesome, like look what we're learning. I wasn't learning any of it.
Shannon,
I
you
was
should have
just
been a
getting him
teacher.
pumped. It's
Oh
like, you need to
man.
know.
You missed, I think you almost missed a calling.
In another life, it's something I've thought about before. I
Mhm.
think, I don't know, I just don't love the way that especially American school systems are set up at the moment.
Absolutely.
Really fair, yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely like teacher-esque roles. I was a tutor in college. Even sometimes just like leading events and things sort of feels like that. So I get similar sort of benefits from it without actually having to like be in a classroom on
Yeah.
the daily.
Yeah.
We gotta
Right
get
now.
you like a YouTube channel. just teach stuff.
Dropping episodes.
Be the next SciShow, or like what Hank Green does.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Love Hank Green, man. And on TikTok. Thank you, Hank Green, for existing. Thank you, John Green, for your writing. Y'all are great.
Big fan,
actually,
big fan.
Shout out John Green. I borrowed Susritha's cover of The Fault in Our Stars, or her copy of the book, and I never forgot it.
Oh my god.
I thought you were gonna say I never returned it.
No, I definitely returned it.
I was so confused. I was like, what do you like? I was like, where's she going with this? I don't remember.
I remember I borrowed your copy of the book, and he makes a reference to V for Vendetta in the book, saying that's what oh my god.
Hazel?
Yeah, what's Augustus?
Gus, yeah.
That's what Gus says Hazel looks like. And I saw
Yeah.
V for Vendetta on like the TV guide, and I took a picture and I sent it to her, and she goes, what is this? Because you had read it like much prior to me reading it, hence you letting me borrow the book. And I was like, look, it's the movie, and you just didn't get it at the time, and it made me really laugh.
Oh man, yeah, I was obsessed with the book when it came out, or like when not when it came out. It was much. I feel like I read it later, but whenever I read it, I was obsessed.
Yeah, I think Shannon and I went to see the movie together.
I think so.
My mom. Yeah. The movie was pretty good too. They did a decent job.
Yeah.
For what it was. But yeah. We've talked very little about food today, and that's okay. We are bound to have some non-food podcasts for the most part.
That's fair.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts? Because we have reached the end of our hour.
Happy Mardi Gras. Happy belated Mardi Gras.
Happy belated Mardi Gras.
Happy belated Mardi Gras. It's a little unfortunate because if you are Christian and follow the Lent pattern of giving up something for Lent, you can't really like celebrate it belated. It's the opposite of the point. But, hopefully the joy is still there with you.
Yeah. As also this comes out like next week, so we're already kind of a week and a half into Lent by the time this is posted. But that's okay. We're not a professional podcast anyway. We record on Discord. Like
you're giving away our secret.
Yeah. My secret is I spent $0 to produce this podcast outside of buying Shannon a mic, which is kind of a birthday gift anyway.
Amazing.
But yeah. Thank you, Susritha, for joining us once again. I hope this isn't the last time you're here. We will definitely have to make a cake party.
Yes.
But yeah,
Mhm.
there's that. I have nothing to update Simmer related. I haven't done much with it because I'm working on shirts and hoodies, which I mentioned. So, I mean, you could go over there if you want, but there's nothing to find yet. Happy Lent to those who celebrate it. And there's that. See y'all in 2 weeks.